What's good, people? What's good? What's good? What's good? Let's randomly relate. Reverse rants, no hate. All right. I want to talk about Adrien Broner. Adrien Broner said when he decides to get serious, it's over for whoever he fights. He focus on boxing, forget these women, forget all this partying. It's over. Now, if he's coming back to say when I decide to put these things, push them to the side, that doesn't sound too promising, man. Because first off, you already know that the distractions that you claimed you had in the past, right? If that's what caused you to come up short, right? Because you're obviously not putting the mental game together. When you say when I decide, like, no. Adrien Broner still has people that believe in him that want to see him win. I want to see Adrien Broner win. At this point, no matter what Adrien Broner says, you have to see it to believe it. It's like every loss that he's had, he's talked a big game before the fight, and he lost. So, to say, I'm going to come back, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, right? You said all these things before, and every single fight, there was an excuse as to why you lost. Adrien Broner has never just said, hey, the better man won. The thing was, against Marcos Maidana, where he took the most punishment. He actually tried that fight. Adrien Broner, even after getting knocked down, he tried that. He got up, and he was trying to win this fight. You didn't see the same things in the other fights. Like, he was just trying to stay safe, and to the point where his offense was extremely limited. He was throwing the same repetitive little jab. One, two occasionally, but he wasn't doing anything. And basically, the four best fighters that he's fought, he lost. I mean, he's a three-time world champion, but there's nobody at those lighter weights that he fought that was better than Pacquiao, better than Sean Porter, Mikey Garcia, or Marcos Maidana. So, I mean, we want to see you win, Adrien, but it's like you have to win. I think the maturity that he needs to have to understand when someone is saying these things, this is not about hate. And me personally, like I said, I have no emotional attachment to anybody, any of these guys. So, just a fan of boxing. I'm not a fan of any fighter. It's fighters that I like, but just the sport itself. And, yeah, we see the potential in Adrien Broner. And I think he doesn't understand that. He takes it as people are hating. They just hating. No, you say and do a lot of dumb shit, unnecessary shit, and people call you out on it because they're telling you, Adrien, man, why don't you cut the bullshit and get serious with the training? And I think with Adrien, it's the mental aspect. I always, from the time he fought Paulie Malignaggi, is when I started to look at Adrien different. Meaning I never saw that people saying he was as good as Floyd. He's better. He's Floyd with power. First off, no. He has power. Is he better than Floyd? No. I don't think he hits harder than Floyd either. No. I think Floyd just, with the brittle hand situation, is one thing. I'm not going to sit here and break down this video, but I can break down the differences, many differences between him and Floyd. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, he tries to imitate Floyd, but he's no Floyd Mayweather. I think everybody knows that by now. But I never thought that even when he was on a winning streak and was, holding championships. But I see the potential in him. But when he fought Paulie Malignaggi, who definitely has pillows for fists, okay, and bad hands. Paulie Malignaggi, when Adrien Broner moved up to fight him, they asked him, are you concerned about the weight, Paulie being the bigger man? Adrien said, what's weight? Simple. But he fought Paulie so cautiously, and I'm like, this is the time you need to let your hands go and look good and shine in this fight. The way Sean Porter put it on Paulie, that's pretty much how people, most of us, imagine him, like he's going to run through Paulie. And he fought him so cautiously. And like, yeah, he clearly won the fight because Paulie was throwing, but he was barely landing anything at all. But you fought him so cautiously, it was like, okay. Was it just a bad night? Or what? I mean, what, he overtrained? What was it? Because he just, it's like he's holding back. If you're that cautious to get hit by a guy who can't punch, isn't it more than likely when you feel Maidana's punch, it's like, what the fuck was that? Obviously. And that pressure that Maidana put on. We saw in that fight, he doesn't like pressure. Okay, so Sean Porter's a pressure fighter as well. Pacquiao's an energetic guy. He will put pressure here and there, but, you know, it just showed that Adrien is limited, man. And I think people take flashy, fast hands, you know, and, you know, his charisma and all. I think they take that for, like, they put you on a pedestal and they rate you better than what you actually are. I don't care how fast your hands are. If you don't have timing and that hand-and-eye coordination you need to get shots off and the boxing IQ to set traps and all that, that's why you can, I mean, I could sit here now and name a bunch of fighters that had very fast hands and lost to guys that was mediocre, man. You know, we give a lot of guys praise. Like, I forget the guy's name, but the guy that he fought Cotto, the one that cheated and was putting plaster in his glove. You know, Max Kellerman is one of those guys. He loves the, you know, the monster, such and such, the monster. Look, man, he said the same shit about Golovkin. He said the same thing about Chad Dawson. And it's like, man, these guys are not fucking monsters. They're human. There's nothing. This guy, who I'm talking about, you know, he fought Paul Williams. He, you know, the one that cheated against Cotto. This guy had the clumsiest, slowest, most uncoordinated feet I ever saw, man. I mean, this guy, he was just constant pressure. He wasn't really a hard puncher. It was an accumulation of punches and just constant pressure. Antonio Margarito. That guy was so average. And, you know, it's like, how do you take a guy like him and boost him up? Like, he's so special. And I mean, the guy was, he was mediocre at best. The same way when Shane Mosley beat him. And people, you know, Shane and his team, they you know, built off of that. Oh, everybody said nobody could beat Margarito. Everybody's scared of Margarito. And we beat Margarito. You should have beat Margarito. I mean, Shane has very fast hands. And Shane is a perfect example, too, man, of a guy who, once he lost to Vernon Forrest, man, it's like he lost his mojo. Hand speed, but no real purpose. How many times, if you look at all of these fights, right, with Shane Mosley, how many times have you heard Jack Mosley saying, Shane, let your hands go, man. You too fast for this guy. He can't handle your speed. Because Shane is not letting his hands go. And Shane will take 2, 3, 4 of your shots just to try to land one. Careless on his defense and all. So, yeah, with those super fast hands, he had no, you know, the timing. Like when he fought Floyd and he caught Floyd and rocked Floyd them 2 times in there, he timed that shit. He was boxing, but then in the heat of the battle, and Floyd starts giving it back to him, all of a sudden, boom, where's the timing? Where's the coordination? It's not there now. He can't land the shot. And so all of that shit about, you know, this guy being a monster, that guy being, no. It's like a lot of times it's because of who you fight. And Shane had a solid resume. He pretty much lost most of his big fights, with the exception of Oscar. You know, Fernando Vargas was washed up. But, I mean, he lost to Winky Wright twice. He lost to Vernon Forrest twice. Shane lost to Miguel Cotto. He lost to Mayweather. He lost to Pacquiao. And, I mean, you know, he got in the ring. I don't want to hear that old bullshit. But at the end of the day, it's like, I look at Adrien Broner and I'm thinking, like, he has the hand speed. He has power. And Adrien makes excuses to the point where everything, whether it's, I'm going back to 140. I never lost at 140. You know, he just feels disrespected because people acting like he, you know, like they're talking like Mikey Garcia is going to beat you. Then what does Mikey Garcia do? He dominates you. So I don't think that Adrien Broner has the mindset, honestly, to be an elite fighter. He has physical skills. He has the ability. I mean, if he has physical ability, speed, power, you know, but Adrian's flat-footed. He's not really athletic. That's one thing a lot of people always overlook. He's like Floyd. He's not like Floyd. No, he has no footwork, man. Adrien Broner's a flat-footed guy, man. And even when he does the shoulder roll, he doesn't step, turn with it, and then he just turns in one spot. He doesn't slide off the ropes. He doesn't. There's a lot of things that Adrien doesn't do. And if he focused more on his craft, I don't give a shit if he wants to imitate Floyd. But you need to learn what Floyd knows. And you need to understand that for you to win against a Keith Thurman, or Sean Porter, or Danny Garcia, I mean, you couldn't, he showed he can't beat Mikey Garcia. He clearly showed that Mikey's a better fighter than he is. And Mikey doesn't have the fast, flashy hands like he does, but Mikey has better fundamental skills all around, which is why he won. We keep waiting for Adrien to break out and have that fight where he can, okay, finally. Adrien is 30 years old now. How much longer I mean, what? Remember how Keith Thurman kept saying, you still haven't seen the best Keith Thurman. And we're like, well, goddamn, Keith, when the fuck we gonna see it? Because you've been talking this shit since Zab Judah been calling you out. Right? Since he was calling out Zab Judah. And that fight never happened. But it was like he was always, you haven't seen the best Keith Thurman. And Keith is a very good talker. Another guy, he can tell you what another guy's doing right, what he's doing wrong, and he understands boxing. But when it comes to himself, he's another guy. Although I think Keith Thurman would beat Adrien Broner. He's better than Adrien Broner, you know. But he's another guy who, when it comes to himself, he's not realistic about his strengths and weaknesses. Because I felt like he beat Sean Porter, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's like, and he beat Garcia. I think he beat both of those fights. And they were great fights. Those were two great fights. And people that were saying, oh man, nah, Keith lost. Okay, it's your opinion. But I think most of that's just because of people who don't like Keith Thurman, or people that wanted Sean Porter to win, or wanted Garcia to win. He clearly beat both of those fights. He beat Danny more soundly than he beat Porter, but he did win that fight. But Keith Thurman, when it comes to himself, he's always, like, he'll say shit about himself that we don't even fucking see. And then he'll, like, you know, analyze a guy and say what he would do. And what I'm saying, it's easy to say you do that shit. You should know as a fighter, man, like, when you look at guys fight, you can feel, you know, like, yeah, that guy's a problem right there. And you got to look at what they do, right? You got to look at their strengths and weaknesses. And when you just, with your ego, say, I could beat this guy, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Basically, Keith Thurman got hit with a body shot by Collazo. Got folded. We've seen him get hurt. We've seen him look bad. We've seen things happen in guys that were lesser fighters. So now, it's like going into the fight with Pacquiao. I think he clearly thought Pacquiao was done. Because Pacquiao didn't look all that impressive in the last two fights he had prior to fighting him. And I think in his mind he felt like, yeah, I got his number. But he's not thinking about, like really being realistic. Like, look, it wasn't like Pacquiao was losing his skills. It just looked like Pacquiao was just one of those nights. And when you depend on your opponent to make mistakes for you to capitalize on, you got to always think, that's something always you think any fighter should keep in mind, is that same fighter that you're fighting, you got to, even like I say Wilder, what else is he going to do different, right? But if I was fighting Wilder, I would fight him still thinking like, hey, I'm not going to go in there like, nah, this motherfucker. No. Whatever my plan is, my game plan, you're going to execute that plan. That's, you know, you want to go in there, we want to win. But I'm not going to go in there expecting him to do the same thing. See, it's different as a fighter. Well, see, because when you, as a spectator sitting around, you're not the one getting punched. You're not the one in there. You know, and like defensive skills, all that thing come into place, what I'm saying. So it's easier for you to sit back and say, well, this, that, and the third. But what I'm saying is, as a fighter, you have to always think, man, this guy might improve. Even if I feel like, nah, he's not. The thing is, I'm not going to go in there and fight stupidly. I'm going to fight with what my game plan is. And even if it's, let's get this motherfucker out of here. then let's go get him the fuck out of here. But the point is, you still going there prepared and thinking, like, you know, logically. I'm here to do my job, and I'm observing with you. Let's go. We about to get it in and make it happen. But for you to go in and, this motherfucker, man. And then all of a sudden, guess what? This motherfucker has corrected the thing that he's done wrong. So as a fighter, you don't go in there thinking the way fans think. You go in there thinking, because you're the one in there. You know, anybody could sit there with a hot dog in one hand, bear, you bitch motherfucker, you punk ass motherfucker. Yeah, they're not the ones in there fighting. So no matter who they're cheering or booing, you know, you as a fighter, it's your job to be prepared, man. But I think overall, I don't know who Adrien Broner is supposed to fight, so I don't think it's going to be like a big fight, a big name. Probably just some meatball to come back and look good against. You know, try to talk up a good game and get another big fight, put himself in that position. Is it going to be at 140 or 147? I don't know. 140 division is looking weak right now. So, you know, I don't know who's there for him. But Adrien Broner, in my opinion, he's spending way too much time out of the gym. He's just wasting his prime years, man. Coming in the ring half-assing it. I just feel like his ego is bigger than his skill level. Simply because mentally, I think Adrian's weak and he's childish. And I'm not saying this to bash the guy. I have no reason to bash him. I'm just saying I think he's just childish. He's not mature enough to really understand. Like, look, I got to get my ass in the gym. And I have to train. And stop living off of that 3-time world championship. We know that you're a 3-time world champion, but what are you doing right now? So anyway, that's all I want to say about that video. And I will see y'all on the next one.